All right, guys. So now that you've got the game downloaded and installed, what I'm going to try and do is get you in a suit, get you out fighting and building your character as fast as possible. I'm going to skip a lot of stuff in the city. I'm not really going to talk about PvP, anything like that. I'll make more videos and more kind of focused videos on that stuff later on. But for now, this is where you make your account name and your password, and that will just set that right off the bat, and you're good. Accounts only have 2 characters, but you can make as many accounts as you want. We'll go ahead and make a character here. There's only 2 factions, and it's a PvP game. So Xeon are a little bit more hit and run, a little bit more guerrilla warfare based. And they use more cartridge-based weapons like bazookas and machine guns than they do beam rifles. However, they do have beam rifles for some of their higher-end suits. EF are more kind of all across the board. They do have melee weapons. They have machine guns, bazookas, stuff like that. But they have more beam rifles, certainly, than the Xeon do. And they are a little bit more mid to long range focused. However, that being said, EF with characters that are built for melee can go toe to toe with Xeon that are built for melee. The game is really quite balanced in that way. So we're going to go ahead and make an EF character. There's some customization you can do. I'm not going to do that right now. But and you can name yourself pretty much whatever you want. All right, so these 3 stats are pretty important. Not so much when you're getting started, and I'll explain why. But first, strength here is tied to your overall damage rating. Spirit applies to your accuracy, crit chance, and block chance. And luck applies to your dodge. For someone starting off with a brand new character, they're brand new to the game, I would suggest going 100 spirit and 70 luck and starting off with 0 strength. And that doesn't mean you're going to do 0 damage. And it'll go up pretty quickly and hit 30 before you know it. This helps you get a little bit bonus of an accuracy edge on these first NPCs and still have some dodge on these first NPCs and not just get your ass kicked right away. That's what I would go with for a new player. Okay, now that we're in, I'm going to go through a few things really quickly here. There's a lot of stuff that's in Japanese, but you don't really need to worry about. The main thing is the options menu, and I'll have a link to a translation of all this in the comment section or in the description, whatever. And check that out, and you can get all the translations for these. All right. So I'm going to skip what's in the city right now. I'll make a different video for that. It's mostly crafting, but it's also where a lot of PvP happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the chat bar, and a lot of these commands are slash commands. And again, I'll have that on the wiki. And if you do slash transport, it'll bring open this transport list here. And at least on the EF side, these supply teams from top to bottom basically go in order from easiest to hardest. So this is the easiest one, a little bit harder. Again, harder. And then once you get past Perth, you can go down to Tasmanian Isle. All right, so we're just going to start with the easiest one, and we're going to go to Sydney Supply Team 9. And let me see, I'm going to go back, get you these. So what this is going to ask you is it's saying, do you want to spend $1,500 EF to buy this transport? Just click yes, and it says, well, hey, you don't have enough money on you and on your person. Do you want to use your bank funds? And just say yes. Everybody starts off with a little bit of money in the bank, so you'll be fine. And that may be changing, but either way, you'll be able to use a transport. So I will not have you watch this little transport sequence, but I will say one thing, and that is that this map is a 1-to-1 scale of Australia. So using this transport system, well, actually, Sydney's not too far away, so I can show you. these are several kilometers apart. And if you ran in a suit, it'd probably take you about an hour to get from Canberra to Sydney, I think. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure. But to get from one side to the other on the map with this transport system only takes about 3 minutes or so. That being said, if there's warfare going on at Newman or Richmond and you attack, any of these cities and the opposite faction is here defending one of these two, it's going to take them some time to get to one of these cities to help defend them. And vice versa, if you're getting attacked and you call for help from someone, let's say I'm over in Sydney, and I call for help from someone over here, it's going to take them a couple minutes to get over here to Sydney to help me. So something to keep in mind. All right, now that we're landing here, almost all the time, you will land near a hangar. And when you start off, you'll have a couple starter suits, and that's really all you need to get going. So once you get your suit up, a handy thing to have is your radar. And it's best to leave this on farther all the time. That way you've got the max range. I can turn that off for now. Let's see. Allies are going to show as green. Show you in a second. They'll come up as blue when you're not sure what they are, and they'll be red when they're an enemy. So now that we've got a suit, you also want to have the machine window open. Damage is your health rating. So once this hits 100%, your suit will blow up and it'll be gone forever. This displays your weapon, and it'll also show the weapon use. Weapons degrade over time, and shields take damage. So, speaking of which, let's buy some of all that. So we come over here to the weapon shop, and like I was saying, here's all the different kinds of ammo for all the different guns. So what we're going to start off with, in the container window here, this is your suit's kind of backpack, if you will. This is what your suit is holding. So we're going to buy if you're starting off on the EF side, and I'll make a Xeon video too, and you want to train beam rifles, go ahead and grab a beam spray gun. It's not a lot of damage. It's a decent range though, and it's just great for training. And if you want to do cartridge-based weapons, shell firing, it's called in this game, shell firing weapons, grab a GM rifle. It'll get you the most bang for your buck with machine gun ammo. So speaking of which, each one of these requires their own ammo. So we get some BMO ammo. Grab some machine gun ammo. All right. Would help to have some shields. So we'll grab some of those. Now, if you saw earlier, I have my shield button set to T. So you can come in here to your weapons. And as you can see, this only has 2 manipulators, which means it can only equip 2 weapons at a time. So I'm going to put the beam spray right there, the GM rifle right there. Hit apply. That'll free up a couple slots in my container down here. Put a shield on, which will also free up another slot. And I'm also going to grab a beam saber just to show you how that works as well. Let's see here. All right, and the last thing we'll need are these repair kits, and they're called emergency toolkits, MSMA. And these heal your suit when you take more than 50% damage, 50% or more. And they're the only way to heal yourself out in the field. So you always, when you're training especially, make sure you grab these. They're rated in difficulty, and they're also rated in the amount healed. So what I mean by that is level 1s are the easiest to use, and they heal for the least. Level 2s are a little bit harder to use. They heal for a little bit more. And level 3s heal for the most, but they're also the hardest to use. So you need quite a bit of ER skill to use those. I wouldn't suggest using these level 3s really until you hit like 70 emergency repair skill over here. Level 2s are pretty decent to start using around 30 or 40 in that range of emergency repair. So we're just going to do level 1s right now. I got one more slot open. Grab a shield. And to find NPCs from these supply camps, all you need to do is head out in cardinal directions. So northeast, south, or west. Keep a look on your radar, and if you don't see an NPC within about 60 seconds or so coming up on your radar, just head back in a different direction. Just head back to camp and head out in a different cardinal direction, and you should find some. Some of them are east and west, and they're not north and south, and you just have to find them. So anyway, the only way to level up in this game is to attack something and to be attacked by something. So what you'll see first here is this skill called Ambac, and I'll have a description of all these skills on the wiki. And this is where you'll see all your skill updates down here, or if you watch the window. So you see Ambac 0.1 right there. Ambac is dodge. So the only way to level dodge is to have something shooting at you and trying to dodge. So let's mention one thing about beam rifles and beam weapons here. If you target something that's behind an enemy that's in front of that enemy, you can actually shoot through the enemy in front to hit the enemy behind. So if you watch down here, I'm actually getting 2 sets of updates per shot here. So beam rifles are a great way to start leveling up, just because you level not very, but you level twice as fast if you're shooting 2 things at once instead of 1. If you also see, I think I'm getting ranged engagement or not. Nah, he got too close. Okay, so when you defeat something, they will leave what's called a container behind. And this is where you get your loot from. So you just run over to it, and you can double click on it, and whoever gets the kill shot will be the quote unquote owner. This only applies for NPCs, because when a player dies, it's their container until I think about 5 minutes are up, and then their container will release. So this is the basics of training, is kind of grouping up a bunch of mobs and having them shoot at you, especially while you need to do dodge training. Another technique here, as you can see, is if I pull these, I went north. So if I head back south towards the camp, you can get these NPCs to follow you to a point, and they'll stop along this imaginary line, and they only follow you for so long because they don't get close enough to the other NPCs back here to fight them. So you can pull them back to this wall, and you can sit there out of their range, but they'll still be in your range. So I can sit here like this and not even get shot at. So this is a much more stress-free and certainly easy way of leveling. And sometimes also by doing this, if you're leveling beam rifles, you can get a few of these. Let me see if I can get this guy again to get a little closer here. Okay. So let's try, he's higher up. Let's try this one. Okay, so now that I'm over 50% damage, I can use one of these emergency repair kits. Now, it's probably not going to work, which means I'm going to get myself in trouble real quick. So it didn't work. It takes about 10 seconds to use one of these. Oh, really? Only one of them? There we go. Yeah, this is not looking good, Sparky. There we go. So as you can see, when you're lining targets up like this to do beam rifles, it's very productive for gaining skill. And So even if you're not leveling beam rifles, this is a good way to level up the engagement skills and just kind of get your accuracy built up. So it's also, there's many uses. So after you hit 80%, it'll give you a fatally damaged, and I might have screwed the pooch here. And GG. And that's why you give yourself a little bit of luck to start with, so you can actually dodge things. These suits are free at the machine shop, and I'll go ahead and go back and show you that now. So it's always best, even if you're going to head back to camp and you have some damage on you, and which you will if you're fighting NPCs inevitably. It's always best to use your repair kits to get under 50%. That way you level up that emergency repair skill. This will save your life in combat. It'll be the determining factor in a roll of whether or not that heal comes up or whether it doesn't. So now we're at 49. One thing I'll show you too is you can do /auto. This will also have the same supply list as the transport and your users that you use with, I don't think I showed this earlier, /mark. So if I wanted to mark this point, could call it Sydney 9 North Wall, right? Now from here I can do auto cruise to Sydney 9, which is, as you can see, the little L right here. It's right here. And that'll take you automatically back. So if you're safely away from NPCs, you need to go use the bathroom, get a drink or something, you can do /auto and just, it'll take you right back to camp. You don't even have to worry about it. To cancel this, hit your back button. That's what that question is right here. It says, do you want to cancel the auto run? And so since I thought of this, your weapons are hot when they're red. This is the crime warning right here. And what this is saying is, like, careful, you're about to attack a friendly force. And it's saying, yes, I know, I'm going to attack this guy. When you do that, you will go criminal. And when you're criminal, you can't use the hangar, you can't use the bank, you can't do anything. All you can do is sit in your suit. Basically, you can keep fighting, you can use emergency repair kits. That's about it. You can't buy any more repair kits. It's happened in battle where, someone just accidentally shoots, a teammate or something. And then, the players know that it was an accident, and players will drop shields on the ground for that criminal player. As long as you only shoot someone one time, well, actually every time you shoot someone, there's a 30-minute timer that starts. So if you've gone 28 minutes on your criminal timer and you accidentally attack a friendly again, you have a new 30 minutes. So sometimes it's best just to log out and wait the 30 minutes. And after that 30 minutes is gone and your criminal penalty has expired, you can use all the buildings and shops and stuff again, just like normal. So what this is a repair station. It's pretty self-explanatory. Saying this costs $0 to repair. Repair stations cannot be used while you're being shot at. So there are repair stations in town and stuff, and when you're fighting in PvP in town, you cannot use that if someone is shooting at you. And that's just to prevent someone from just sitting there and, repairing the whole time while getting shot at and not being able to be killed because they just keep repairing and not fighting, which is lame, and it was stupid. All right, guys, that gets you started, gets you in, gets you playing. I will have a wiki and process that's cleaned up and a little bit more concise and explain some stuff in detail. I wanted to keep this video kind of short and get you guys playing. Like I said, I'll make one for the Xeon side that kind of shows their progression of the NPC transports and stuff like that. it's pretty much the same. I think it should go down in the same order. But I'll be making some more videos with the advanced tactics and some PvP stuff. And see you next time.